Hello, friends, or more specifically, friends of Oak Creek Conservancy. Why do I say that? Because that's where we are. Okay, what is Oak Creek Conservancy? I'm not quite sure. I'm still working it out. But basically, it's a 36-acre piece of land that's about 2 miles northwest of Corvallis, Oregon. Corvallis is a college town. The economic drivers are the university and forestry and agriculture. Fortunately, the university has two very strong programs in those areas, so I will rely on the professors and the students for their expertise. But if we look just to the east of here, across the Willamette Valley, which is about 30 miles wide, there is the Cascade Mountain Range. And those are the 10 and 11,000 foot snow-capped peaks that you traditionally think of as a mountain. And then to the north and to the west is the Pacific Coast Range. You can see part of the Coast Range behind me. They're basically rolling hills between 1,000 and 3,000 feet in height. One of them is, I think, just a little bit over 4,000. And the Coast Range runs from here to the coast, about 30 miles, and it's heavily forested and heavily commercially logged. The 36-acre piece of property that the Conservancy is on came up for sale in 2007. And I looked at it. It was a piece adjoining my existing property. And I found that a developer was looking at it. And this land is 2-acre zoning. So maybe a dozen houses could have been put in here, and they'd be McMansions that I'd see looking out my kitchen window. So I wanted to prevent the development from housing. And I didn't have long-term plans at the time, but one of the first things I did was to put in a small vineyard. Grape growing and gardening is kind of a hobby of mine, and that was really fun. I learned a lot of skills. I certainly spent a lot of time there. I dug post holes, I planted the vines, I strung the fence. And during that period of time, I really became close to the land and I wanted to protect it. The Conservancy is basically mostly forested, but it's a mix of different types of trees, primarily Douglas fir and Oregon white oak. And the Douglas fir grows fairly quickly. So what happens is when they grow up and they shade the oak, they will stunt the growth of the oak and then eventually will kill the oak. So I decided to restore the oak woodland. There's only about 3% of the original oak woodland remaining. And when the Kalapuya Indians were here, millennia before the white settlers, they maintained the oak woodland from here 30 miles to the coast. So the oak woodland, it's a very complex infrastructure. The oaks produce acorns. Critters eat the acorns. Bigger critters eat the little critters. The natives eat the deer and then use the hides for protection and clothing. And there are lots of other complex things in this environment. So the oak woodland is very valuable, and it's disappearing. So that's my mission, is to restore the oak woodland. But in the Conservancy, there's lots of other things going on. There's certainly, I mentioned the vineyard. I have a garden. I built a very highly energy efficient house using the German passive house system. So I will basically be starting out with this introductory video, and I'll be making periodically, I don't know, once a week, twice a month, I'm not really sure yet, a series of videos that deal with all different aspects of the Conservancy. Anything from logging. There was a lot of logging because we had to take out the fir trees so they would give room for the oak trees to grow. And there was road building, there's log splitting, there's gardening, there's artwork. I've done some furniture making. Certainly many features of the house are worthy of videos, the very energy efficient water heater, et cetera, et cetera. So it's going to be a lot of little videos that basically kind of show what happens at the Conservancy. It's not all about protecting the oak trees, but that's the basic mission. And then lots of other things go into the Conservancy and running the Conservancy. I invite you to visit the website, oakcreekconservancy.com, see in more detail what we do here. Please feel free to register your name, and I'll send you this video as a form of a newsletter periodically. And I look forward to having you and maybe your friends joining me on future videos. Please like and share, and look forward to seeing you again.